His stepchildren beat him to death and threw him on the road.
Investigation revealed that the victim was beaten with brass knuckles and suffered severe head trauma.
However, the whole community took the side of the killers because they did it to avenge their little sister.
Teens over in the Rio Grande Valley, they are now charged with this is for a man that they say police wouldn't do anything about, despite already having warrants for his arrest. Are they cold or were their actions justified in defense of their little sister?
Alejandro and Christian Treviño couldn't hide their rage when their younger sister told their mother that Gabriel Quintanilla, their stepfather, had abused her, and they were not willing to let that to continue to happen.
Quintanilla did have a warrant out for continual sexual abuse of another child.
Both 18 and 17-year-olds agreed with a friend and decided to do justice in a brutal way. And this is how the police officer who investigated the told it.
On Thursday evening at an RV park at 1201 East Moore, a female minor made an outcry to her mom about being inappropriately dressed by her father, Gabriel Quintanilla, which is the deceased in this case. When brothers Alejandro and Christian Treviño found out, they confronted Gabriel at the residence, and a physical fight ensued between the three, and the victim, Quintanilla, left the location on foot.
This was only the first of several confrontations that would soon take place in the following hours.
Christian Treviño, he does run out. He runs after the victim, Quintanilla, and finds him outside of an apartment complex, which is further south down the road there. In far, we have a complex that's just south of where this residence is at. A second assault occurs there, and Alejandro Treviño and the driver of a red Dodge Charger, who we've identified as Juan Eduardo Melendez, catch up to him and again join in an assault towards the victim at that point. The three suspects leave the location, change vehicles, drive back in a white Ford F-150, and found the victim walking along what we believe is Veterans Road, alone and injured from his two previous injuries that had occurred. A third assault occurs, and the victim is at that point severely beaten.
He was then abducted and dumped on the road where the body was eventually found. The investigation revealed that the severe skull injuries the victim received were caused by the blows of brass knuckles. The suspects in the attack would quickly be apprehended and brought to justice on serious charges.
Alejandro Treviño, aggravated assault and engaged in organized criminal activity. Christian Treviño, aggravated assault, capital murder, engaging in organized criminal activity. And then we got a third individual, Juan Eduardo Melendez, capital murder, aggravated assault, and engaging in organized criminal activity.
The crime had been truly ruthless because they could have just ended it after the first attack, but they decided to persist until they left him for dead. However, the reasons behind these actions would put the young men as heroes rather than as killers. Of course, people saw that they did all of this with the sole idea of avenging their little sister, who had been abused by her father for months.
They're doing it for a reason. We know that he's a hero with his brother and along with the other friend, and all we could do is just support him.
Someone was literally beat with brass knuckles. Do you see that as effective justice?
I do. I know it sounds bad, but I do. Yes, I do.
It happened several times, like what are we supposed to do? Like the fire department knew he was wanted and nothing ever happened. He was still wanted and they never got him.
It's just hard to explain, knowing that I just never would have thought that they would have done something like that. And I know that it wasn't their intention.
But of course, no matter how much support they got from the community that came out to demonstrate in their favor, what the justice system decided could be something completely different. Of course, they mercilessly killed a man. And all of that was backed up by the evidence found. So it was a difficult task anyway.
If you are the defense attorney in this situation, what you're arguing is that there are these mitigating circumstances. The of their very young, small child, little sister, by their evil stepfather.
That was the most important thing, to emphasize the idea that Gabriel Q was a who was on the loose, and that this whole reaction came with the idea of avenging their sister.
Well, certainly it bolsters the perception that he was rightfully accused, right? Because it was a different victim. So now you have two young children claiming that they were sexually assaulted by this man, right? And if these two brothers and the friend were aware, I think it provides a rationale, a justification that a lot of people can understand.
The fact of the matter is that given the serious charges, the young men were all left with bail of close to $1 million. However, given the background that the defense has shown about the reasons behind the crime, the amount was reduced considerably to $150,000. And the amount of support for the Treviño brothers and Juan Eduardo Melendez is something that has seldom been seen in a case that ends with such a brutal crime.
Where you as the lawyer look at the jury and say, hey, we understand that this meets the elements, but we're asking you to find them not guilty anyway, because no one, I don't think there's anyone in America that can't sympathize with two brothers acting the way they did in response to someone who had violently raped their little sister.
Neither of the defendants have received any kind of sentence, but the whole community is waiting for it to be the least harsh sentence because for them, this crime was totally justified.